Hello, welcome to Primal, and I'm Aweditor Brempong. In this lesson, I want to show you how to think inside the editor before we begin to build anything. So first, on my dashboard, I'm going to open a website I've created, and I'm going to clear everything that there is so that we can start afresh. Now, the easiest way to understand Primal is that you build in layers. First, you have a page. Inside the page, you add sections. Inside sections, you add blocks. And inside blocks, you place content like text, images, buttons, and icons. If you keep that structure in mind, the editor starts to feel much more predictable. Let's look at the interface. In the middle, we have the canvas. That's a white part you see here, the canvas. This is where the page is built. On the left, we have the action rail and panel. This is where you add things, open lessons, access assets, data sources, and page tools. On the right, we have the inspector. This is where you control settings, styles, layout, typography, states, and more. Now I'm going to click an element on the page. So first, before I click the element, I want to create an element. As we talked about, if you are building websites using Primal, you have to think in a structured or layered manner. So I'm going to add a section first. When I select anything, Primal gives us two important things. First, the visible selection on the canvas. As you can see, the visible selection here with the points around it. And then the second, the inspector updates to show controls for that exact item. So if you go to the right in the inspector, you can see this controls what I've selected, and these are what you use to control the appearance, the look, the position of the items that you have selected. This is important. Primal is context based. The tools change depending on what you select. For example, if I select a block, and in this case I'm going to add a block by using the quick add bar when I select anything. So I'm going to add a block so that we can understand it properly. So if you add a block, you get a block and layout controls. So for example, if I click this block, you can see here I have block and layout controls here, and you can see I have these controls to help me insert other things in the block. If I select text, I get text controls. Right, so I'm going to add a text element into the block, and as you can see, when I select text, I get text controls, and we have the various text nodes. We have increase in font size here, we have line height, and then we have letter spacing over here. Now all these are text controls. So when I select the element, I get the controls that help me quickly edit that particular element. Now if I select an image, I get an image control. So let me add an image here. As you can see, I added an image here, and I get the media controls here. I can change the media controls with this based on the kind of image that I have. I can open my image side to change the image with this media controls. So before you change anything, always make sure you selected the correct item. Now let's look at the left side again. This area is where you usually start a build. So let's go here. You can add sections like I did, blocks, text, images, buttons, and other elements. You can also have lessons here which guide you step by step if you want help while building. So the lessons tab, it guides you step by step to get to know and then the app and then know how to control. On the right side, the inspector is where most of the editing happens. This is where you adjust layout, spacing, typography, colors. So you can see here we have typography. You can put it your colors. So you can change the colors of your text. And then responsive settings. Now I'll make one simple change so that you can see how the editor responds. So for example, as you can see, I'm changing the color. It responds very well here. And I would like to even change something here, custom text that I've set already. And we'll go through how to set your typography before you start building your website. And that will be the best thing you would do. One of the things you do in Alora or Primal, we want you to build easily, quickly, and without stress. So we've created so many things to make sure repetitive actions are not done continuously. So at the beginning of your work, if you come to typography, you can define the typography for your website, how your font should behave for various types of fonts, and you save them. So just as I applied right now, all you have to do is just select it out there when you're building so that there's no delay for you. Now, I'm selecting a block and I'm going to change the background color. Now for background color, we have something called surface, the fill color, and that's where you're going to change your background color. As you can see, as I change the color, it changes the color of the background. Notice what happens. The selected items changes immediately. The inspector shows the updated value and the editor keeps track of the save state. So Primal or Alora is designed to save as you work. One more important thing, selection matters more than speed. Beginners often move too quickly, select the wrong item, and then think the editor is behaving strangely. In most cases, the issue is just the wrong layer selected. So the basic working rhythm is select an item, confirm what you have selected, edit and move on. So if I selected a block, I'm going to get at the top here the block that I've selected. You can see in here is a block, right? It starts with a block and then the ID of the block is there. If I go to selection as well, I can see the block ID selected, right? And then I can change my settings. So thank you for watching. In the next lesson, we'll use the loop that we just described to build with sections and blocks, which is the foundation of every good layout in the app.